Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another Chamber Check-In episode from Idaho's only five-star accredited chamber. Today, we're honored to raise awareness about a company here locally. It's called BrightStar Care. They're a in-home care, medical staffing, and a memory care and assisted living company. And I have owner with us today, Caroline Moore. I'm going to bring her on stage now. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, thanks for carving out some time with me today. It's a beautiful Thursday, right?
It is.
Hey, we were talking a little bit before we went live today, kind of the different breadth of services and the amount of employees that you have to offer this type of care and your services. But I'd like to start out with you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your background that led you into becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Well, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad, we had an orchard growing up and all kinds of things like that. So I think it's kind of always been that way. My brother has his own company. My brother-in-law has a company. So I think we've kind of always been entrepreneurial spirits. But me getting involved and starting BrightStar Care here in the Valley 16 years ago really did come from me wanting to have my own company, but then also do something that really made a difference to people in our community.
Okay, so you were hassled by your family to get something started, I hear.
Not quite, not quite. But I think I always knew I wanted my own thing, and and I wanted something that I felt really good about.
Are you from the Boise area?
No, I originally am from Wisconsin, but we moved here 19 years ago, and both of my children have been raised here. And so, we love it here in the Valley. We don't plan to ever leave.
It's a great place. Okay, you mentioned family-owned businesses. How did you get into this in-home care and memory care? Tell us the origin story of BrightStar.
Yeah, well, I had quite a bit of experience personally. My grandfather had been in a nursing home after having a stroke. My other grandfather had Alzheimer's and spent time at the end of his life in a memory care facility. My grandmother lived to 97, was able to stay in her own home right up to the end, but she had in-home care. And then my other grandmother had brain cancer and was in a hospice care facility until she passed at the end there. So I'd had quite a bit of experience with senior care. And I had been a pharmaceutical rep and in the pharmaceutical industry and sales. And when I was starting to think about what I wanted to do in my own business, BrightStar ended up coming from kind of this passion place of care as well as medical. And so back in 2010 is when I started my BrightStar Care here in the Valley, which is now, believe it, 16 years ago is where we started with our senior care.
So what I'm hearing you say is that it came out of a passion and your heart to provide a care that you've seen your family receive, that maybe you can elevate that type of care and provide it to others, right?
Yes, and definitely BrightStar Care is that. We are the only Joint Commission accredited agency here in the Valley that provides in-home care. And what that means to my families and to the community is that a third party called Joint Commission, they survey both of our hospital systems here. They also survey my company. So our gold star from the last 15 years really does mean something in an industry that has very little regulation.
So accredited, certified.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah,
very
I see
much
you have
so.
some great team members listed on your website. Okay. Congratulations on 16 years, first and foremost.
Thank you.
I think that's incredible. And a needed industry, and you never think about it until you need it. This is an opportunity for people to be more proactive and to be thinking about, hey, when I need this, maybe BrightStar is a good opportunity for us to connect with. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's talk about your services. We talked about in-home care and memory care, but let's hear it from you. What are the breadth of services that you offer?
Yeah, we're actually able to do a lot. So in our in-home care business, we can do as little or as much. We like to say big and small, we help them all. So a lot of families bring us in starting at 4-hour blocks a couple times a week. Then they may go to 7 times a week, or they may expand their hours. We can do small shifts all the way up to 24/7 care. One of the things that makes us a little bit different too is that because I have a full-time director of nursing on staff, all of our plans of care are derived and are developed by our medical professional, our director of nursing. And so then our nurse Cree goes out to the home, writes the plan of care, and then is intimately engaged with the staff and the team members on that care for those individual clients in their home.
Incredible.
And services you want to know, we do a little bit of everything. Light housekeeping, meal preparation, transportation. We are able to do transportation as well. Most families start bringing us in a lot when they also need help with what are called ADLs, which are activities of daily living, which might be bathing, it might be med management, might be helping getting dressed or personal hygiene. It may even go as far as that the individual needs help with ambulation. Maybe they've had some kind of a physical event or a surgery or even, a bone fracture, and to be able to get from bed to wheelchair or things like that need assistance. And we're able to do safe transfers and do all of those services. And so it's considered unskilled, but we also have nurses on staff as well, that if someone's needing skilled services, we do have nurses that can work with individuals on higher level skilled. And then all the way to our memory care and our assisted living homes. So our Care More Homes, which is another company we have, is kind of the other end of things, that if someone's not able to stay in their home any longer, or it becomes cost prohibitive to have the level of care they need, they may consider placement. And our residential care homes are an amazing option. Almost all of our homes have gold and silver awards upon survey from the state for care excellence. And so we're very, very proud of that. And they're really unique in that it's really a niche in that our care homes serve just 8 to 12 residents in the home, all of them having their own private rooms. But we have the best levels of care. Our ratios are anywhere between 1-4 to 1-6 at all times in our homes. So even if someone becomes a 2-person transfer or needs a Hoyer, a sit-to-stand, a Serosteti, or even assistance with feeding, we are able to retain them in our homes. So truly, people that move into our residential care homes are able to age in place for their entire journey.
Wow. I already feel like the blood pressure's dropped because we have a company like yours that is taking care of our loved ones. This is awesome.
Well, and we know a lot. We can help with a lot. And even if we don't feel that we're maybe the right resource for some reason, or, you have questions about how much in-home care you need. Maybe you have a long-term care policy, not sure how that works. We take care of those for people. We help you process it, file a claim, and then we manage the filing with the companies for that so that you just receive your check. So, whether you're questioning about physical therapy services, hospice, palliative care, placement, in-home care, we really can be a wonderful resource for our families here in the Treasure Valley. Even if we don't feel that we're the right resource, we can point you in the right direction.
Okay, wow. This is a great reason why we do these chamber check-ins, is to help share the different services. So in-home care, assisted living, memory care. And I also see here on your website, medical staffing. We talked a little bit about that, but I know that's not your premier service, but tell us about that.
Yeah, so we do some boutique, I like to say, medical staffing. So we often partner with other hospice companies and home health companies if they have a team member that's going to be on leave, maybe having a baby or things like that. A lot of times it's our aides or our nurse that might fill in on their team. Additionally, we've been partnering with different hospital systems on different programs, like a hospital at home program, even a reserve bed program for potential placement. We're working on that now as well. We also partner and work with the VA on some of their programs and providing the aid level service that they may need. in their home and qualify through VA benefits. And then we also work with a lot of national accounts, we call them, and partners where we staff for them, doing assessments for insurance, potentially doing teach and trains on infusions or other kind of medical services. So my team really does work in combination with a lot of partners here in the community to meet the needs and get things done for families.
Wow. Talking about who you serve, you mentioned seniors, right, and veterans. I also see children and businesses listed. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So over the years, we've done some different things. We have done some care for pediatrics with some insurance companies when they're not able to find appropriate nurses or caregivers that are able to oversee a need. We've partnered on those. And additionally, some of the businesses have partnered with us over the years too. We've worked with Albertsons and other businesses on doing flu, fall flu season. They might call us up and have us come out and do whole clinics. Or we work with the Albertsons pharmacies and stretching their staff and helping our nurses provide some of those flu shots and things like that. And during COVID times, we also did a lot of testing for companies and did a lot of different things that way too. So, we're quite flexible because of the different licenses we hold, the different levels of staff that we have on our team of nearly 140 caregivers and nurses that work for BrightStar Care and Care More Homes. So we actually have a lot of ability and capability here.
I love it. You see a need, you feel that need, and you've got that pharmaceutical background too that you were talking about earlier. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I think, having such a well-rounded team, having a lot of longevity in my core team, we've seen a lot over the last 16 years. And we've been able then to really flex and pivot and be able to help families with a lot of situations, which is why, I encourage families to call us and to talk to us, because we can definitely, like I said, even if we are not the solution, we can oftentimes point them in the right direction or get them to the right resource.
We've been talking a lot about your team and your experience and talent. And you mentioned your nurse, Curry. Let's talk about that for a minute. This is a great opportunity to shout out your team.
Yeah, well, they're good. They're great, actually. I'm very, very proud of my team. What we do, I provide a service. We're only as good as my team members that are out there in the field with the families, providing the service, going into private homes every day or showing up every day at our residential care homes and working with our residents and our families. We've been very, very fortunate to receive a lot of recognition here in the Valley over the years for our quality work. Currently, we have a finalist for Caregiver of the Year, and she will be attending a luncheon next on the 14th of May to find out how she did, but she's being acknowledged as a finalist there. We also had 2 individuals that are in the running here that are for scholarships, and we've been scholarship recipients before. So HAPN is an organization here in the Valley. It's an acronym for Healthcare Association Providing Positive Education and Networking. It has many, many members: hospitals, hospice companies, home health companies, in-home care companies, all the different facilities. And every year we give out 2 big awards. And I've been on that committee for the last 14 years. And for the last 14 years, there's been 2 big awards given every year. And over the years, we have won 14 of those awards here at BrightStar Care and Care More Homes. So we're very proud of it. We've taken almost half the awards because we do really have exceptional caregivers. And then got to give a shout out. My nurse was a finalist last year nationally for Nurse of the Year as well. Cree, you mentioned her. She was started with me 15 years ago as a CNA while she was going to nursing school. And then 8 years ago came back to us as a nurse and has joined our team and stayed with our team. And then on the other side, our Care More Homes, we have a wonderful nurse, Christina, that also is a full-time nurse and our director of the clinical for that. And it's pretty unique. A lot of your smaller homes and things like that a lot of times contract out their nursing, and we do not. We staff our own nurses, and Christina runs that team. So we're very proud of the clinical excellence that we do have here aboard our team, and it's very important to us, and it allows us to take a higher acuity resident and a more complex patient even in the home.
You know what, our homes are our most precious places, right? And our loved ones that are in those homes, and we want a care provider that can just mirror that and provide that care. That's incredible. Congratulations and kudos to you and your team.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Like I said, I'm just this person that initiates and dreams a big dream and helps initiate it. But it's really my team here in the office and then out in the field and in my care homes that gets it done. They are exceptional, and I'm very proud of them.
You should be. I have the website scrolling at the bottom of the screen. I would encourage anybody that is listening to share this as well. For those that might need this type of service, the website has tons of information and direct lines to connect with the team, their story, their services, who they serve, a little bit about each and every one of their profiled team members here. Caroline, is there anything else that you thought of during our call that you'd like to educate the listeners on while we have you?
Yeah, one more thing I think that might be of interest is at our Care More Homes, which, by the way, that one you can go to caremorehomes.com as well. We do have a button that they can push on. There's a video, so they can actually tour and see one of the homes, one of our most recent homes. I think that is super useful. Additionally, we also, when we have availability, we will do respite care at our care homes as well. And I think that is a wonderful way for families to still be able to take vacations and have 24/7 care for a loved one if they've been caring for them in their home and need something different. I think it's also a wonderful way for families to come and stay in one of our care homes and potentially take it for a test run or a spin. You know, if you've been trying to debate of, will this work? Is this a good fit for mom and dad? Doing a respite stay might be another real great opportunity, to have mom or dad try that out and see if that's a good fit.
I think that's amazing. Great solution as well for those that just aren't there yet and might not have any idea what that's like. So,
yeah. And a lot of times too, we have spouses or children that are the full-time caregiver in the home. And a lot of times too, if they know they're going to have a surgery coming up, or if some accident happens and they're not able to care for their loved one anymore, again, that respite becomes a very viable option. Not to mention the fact that also, if someone becomes a two-person transfer, a Hoyer, a sit-to-stand, needs assistance with feeding, and they're in a rehab or a hospital setting, they do not necessarily have to go to a skilled facility. A lot of times that's a very challenging environment for those, especially with cognitive gaps or dementia. They very likely could come to one of our care homes because we do have that high acuity ability in our homes. So I would encourage, again, families to give us a call. We can always assess and see if one of our homes might be able to take their loved one in as a resident instead of having to go to that higher level facility that sometimes isn't always the best fit for them.
Yeah, I think we always heal better in our own homes anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Caroline, thank you for your time today. Thanks for your membership investment for many years. And thanks for sharing a little bit about BrightStar Care today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you, Paul.
Absolutely. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in today. Join us on future episodes where we highlight our member stories, services, and people. Please subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn channels. Have a great weekend.
Bye.